Hello everyone, welcome to Club at 22, the Rangers podcast, and welcome to Club Live at 6:30 on a Friday, 6:33, sorry, a wee bit late, I do apologise, but we are live on YouTube tonight, so please do like the video, subscribe to the channel, all the usual stuff, get yourself involved in the live chat as well, as we've got quite a fair bit to get through tonight as Rangers return to league action on Sunday. I am Scott Carney, and joining me tonight is Nicky Oven. Nicky, how are you?
If it's not John Terry, it's Tiger Woods. I'm going to need to get a whole new wardrobe. I'm needing to continue with this podcast so I don't get a ribbon every time I come on. I'm good, mate. I'm back at work, so I'm a wee bit tired. I've had a pretty full-on week, as you can imagine, with juggling work and kids and Doug and everything else. But it's been a quiet week. There's not been much happening. The international break. I don't know about you boys. I know we don't want to talk too much about Scotland, but I've completely lost interest in the national team. I felt as if there was an opportunity to move away from Clark at the end of the Euros. They've not done it, so I am less arsed than I usually am, even at the international break. So I've had nothing to keep me occupied for the last week, 10 days or so. But I'm glad Rangers are back at the weekend, mate. We've got a really tough game. I know we'll come on and talk about it. But yeah, good to see you boys, and looking forward to the weekend.
Absolutely. And Ross, fresh back from your travels, mate. How was the holiday? How are you?
Good, gents. I'm very good, thank you. Back from a wee trip out scouting, try to get some players under the radar. I've got a few names, but I'll keep them on my belt. No, it was good. It's good to be back. With Rangers, it's been a long few weeks. But likewise with Scotland. The only positive is big soapy suitor talking Ronaldo. That brought a smile to the face. But no, hopefully he does the same at the weekend. Not quite the same opposition he's come up against, but. No, looking forward to it, gents, as always. Hope everyone chat's doing well, and let's get straight into it.
Yes, absolutely. We were meant to be joined by Chris from Rangers on tour, but he's having technical issues. He may appear on the pod at some point if he gets them sorted, but we don't like to leave the chat waiting, so we thought we would come on live and hopefully he can get things sorted and he might join us later in the podcast. Yeah, so a few things to get in tonight. Obviously, it's been a bit statement gate, not really statement gate, interview gate, or I suppose you could say this kind of week. Well, a number of things coming out, and yeah, we are going to start with, since it is now just over a year since Philip Clement took charge, we'll have a bit of a look at Clement. We'll have a wee bit of a look of where he is at over his kind of first year in charge. So yeah, it was the 15th of October that he took over last year, 2023. So we are just past that now. Nicky, we'll start with what we probably think are the positives from Clement. Is there any for you? Where do you see the positives in Clement's first year as Rangers manager? And that's a vague question, I get that, mate, but you can take it anywhere you want to take it.
No, I think yeah, you're right. It's been slightly over a year now when we get together tonight. It's been a bit of a bell curve for me, Scott. If you think about the traditional kind of bell curve, when you think about work and performance and all that sort of stuff, it's been quite a bell curve, because I think if I reflect back on Clement, he hit the ground running, right? I think originally, if I think back to those first couple of games, Hibs, Hearts, a few others in there, we probably weren't playing great football. We hadn't been playing good football, right? We were an absolute nightmare under Michael Beale, and all the enthusiasm had been zapped out of this squad and out of this support. But he got over the line. I think the key thing we were looking for with Philip Clement, and I think even when we were in the market for a new manager, because I know we kind of came down to 2 or 3 candidates, didn't we? We had Muscat, we had Lampard, was very heavily rumoured, and obviously we had Philip Clement. And I don't think it's any surprise that a lot of the fans were on board with Clement, because I think they felt like we didn't have the money to completely revamp this squad. We needed a manager who was going to come in and get the best out of the guys who were there. And Clement done that, right? He get the results to begin with. I think back to that late Danilo header against Hearts to get us over the line. There was a couple of other games round about then where we hadn't played great, but it was all about that kind of next game mentality, get over the line. And then, to be honest, I felt as if we started to see performances improve as well, right? We performed really, really well up until the New Year fixture against Celtic. We obviously lost that fixture. And then we've seen an unbelievable bounce, right? We've seen the bounce of, 14 or 15 games he went on, winning all of them. Clawed back a 7 or 8 point deficit. I think at one point we were 5 points clear, and we were all beginning to dream, could he go on and win the title, right? Which was a dream that was dead, right? If we think back to October-ish time when he took over, it was a dream that was just completely dead in the water. So he certainly done well. We seen the blueprint, Scott, didn't we, of what this squad does from that kind of March time through to the end of the season. The Motherwell game, the Ross County game, I think it was Dundee was the other game that springs to mind. We fell off the boil, we ran out of steam, whatever metaphor you want to use, and ultimately we ended the season just with that one League Cup win. Since the start of this season, I'm probably quite mixed, to be honest, Scott. I think I was maybe hoping for a wee bit more in the summer in terms of guys going out. I think there's still part of that old guard that's kicking about that I'll not keep any secrets, right? I wanted a few extra of them out the door, and I wanted some fresh faces in. They're still kind of kicking around. I think he has got rid of a lot of them. I think the biggest challenges are that what we're seeing at the minute for me, Scott, is style of play. What we're not, I don't think we're seeing it. I think last year he was problem solving a lot. I think he was playing with the hand that he'd been dealt. But I maintain that I'm not sure Clement is a style guy. I think he is a man management guy. I think he is reliant on us putting quality on the park for him. And I think the board have failed him up until now. I don't think the board have given him the quality on the park, to be perfectly honest. Yes, Clement needs to do things. I think Clement talks a lot about these 4 pillars. I'm not really seeing it. I think the technical, the tactical, the physicality pieces, I'm not really seeing it. Physicality is the one that I go, it's the easiest one to fix, mate. You'd a full summer, you'd a full pre-season. If you talk about the physical attributes you're looking at, you should have ticked that one off, mate. And then maybe, you've maybe not got the quality there because the board we've not had the money or whatever it might be. But I feel as if he's maybe failed a wee bit on that physicality. I don't think this team looks overly fit at the minute. Certainly no fitter than what we come off of last season with Michael Beale, and that's just my opinion. I think the other big thing along with style is he's won big games. Aberdeen League Cup final, Betis away. He's won big games in Europe. Malmo, for example, just a few weeks ago. He's not beat Celtic. Right, it's the other big black mark on his CV for me at the minute. He's not beat Celtic, and I think realistically, he has another couple of stabs at it. I think the Ibrox game is pivotal in New Year. Right, that is must win an Old Firm as ever I've seen one. It doesn't matter if we at that point score 12 points behind, or we've clawed it back and we're only 2 points behind. We need to beat Celtic. It's as simple as that. Clement needs to beat Celtic. And I think he needs to get a bit of belief into some of the existing squad, but also the new boys as well, that, listen, this isn't just a trajectory that every time we turn up against Celtic, we get beat. We need to beat Celtic. So it's been a bit of a bell curve. I think there's been good aspects. There's been bad aspects. I think he's maybe been let down by the board, but he doesn't come out of this watertight. I think there are problems with Clement that all the fans are seeing at the minute, and fans are starting to lose a wee bit of patience. But I think the biggest thing Clement can do right now, mate, is concentrate one game at a time, get us through the next 2-ish months, as close to, he can't go any further than the 7 points or whatever it is we're behind. Is it 5 points we're behind Celtic at the minute?
8 points.
Is it
not 8? Oh, no, it's 5. No, it's 5. It's 5.
Five.
It's 5.
Whatever it is, 5. He can't go any more than that, in my opinion. He needs to keep that at 5 or bring it down. And then, yes, January, big game against them, New Year fixture. He needs to beat them, mate.
Yeah, absolutely, mate. Yeah, late to the party. Chris from Rangers on tour. Chris, how are you, mate?
All right, guys. Typical everything. I think Rangers tried to arrange my internet for me tonight on my laptop, so nothing went to plan.
No, don't worry about it, mate. Don't worry about it. It's a pleasure to have you on, mate. So, Chris, we're in the middle of kind of just reviewing Clement's kind of first year in charge and where we maybe think the positives are and where he has succeeded. I'll give you a minute to settle yourself, mate, and I'll come to Ross. Ross, Nicky makes quite a few good points. I think a lot of them I'm like, I can understand we did hit a bit of an up curve. I do think the desire from quite a lot of us, including myself, to see some established style of play, to see something like that. I don't really think it's going to come. I believe that Clement he's kind of a stats guy as well, and it's all about the numbers. And I don't really see much in terms of how he's going to change it with the players that he currently has. But where are you on it? Where are you in the positives out of Clement's first year? Is there any to go on for you?
First of all, I don't know how you follow up after Nicky. That's outstanding, mate, honestly.
Yeah, it was pretty good, mate. It was.
That was outstanding.
Yeah, it was good.
No, look, I think there are definitely positives to take from it. I think he seems... I think he understands what we need, if that makes sense. I think the whole thing, and it's something to do with maybe his backroom staff as well, we're not relying on these, well, other than one player and James Tavernet, we're not relying on old players to see us over the line. I think he believes in really moving the team forward. You know, he speaks highly about bringing in players like Cortez, Barami, Jeffy, those youth, and more so that's not looking at this season, it's looking at 3-4 seasons down the line. I think that's really, really good. But the main thing and Nicky mentions it, the main thing that's hanging over Clement is that he's yet to beat them quite simply. There's been a bounce, obviously a step forward, all the way through the early bits of his tenure to now, but it's still not what we need, not quite yet. And he's had his time to get in his players. Obviously, there's a potential, has the board given him the resources to do so. It's his team now, and he needs to go forward with it. So, the kind of where I'm sat at just now, it's very much there's still work needing done. I'm confident that he's the guy to take us forward, but for me, I don't know. It's up to the players now. It's his, as I say, it's his team going forward. He's got a wee bit of stats, wee bit of I've taken a leaf off Scotia's notebook. 67% win percentage so far, so that's 37 wins out of 55 games. So you look at that, I think Michael Beale's just over 70. So again, it's kind of a hard comparison, but we need to stick with him because he's not going anywhere, regardless of what happens. But I'm interested to see what you guys are thinking on it. But it's very much, I've said it before in the pod, it's just be patient with Clement just now because unfortunately he's going nowhere.
Yeah, I want to back Clement, and I've said that for a long time, even when things got a bit rocky, that I've wanted to back him, and sometimes he makes it difficult for me because he makes some crazy decisions on the park during games. I'm going, well, I don't understand what you're doing, and square peg round holes, it's going to become a catchphrase on this podcast, but it's something that I say all the time. It's just something that we consistently see, and whether that's down to recruitment, injuries, or whatever, I just think I see options better than what sometimes he think. That's my opinion. Some of the options that I see that he has available are not ones that he chooses to make. But Chris, his recruitment to an extent has worked, and I mean that in well, you're probably more half and half maybe so far. I mean, I think Barami's shown that he's got real quality. I think Jeffy looks like he will develop. He's the kind of perfect example of what we're hoping to get out of bringing a young player in, hoping they develop over the next 18, 24 months, and then we move them on for a hefty profit. That's kind of, hefty, Jeffy, did you hear that? I didn't even mean that there. That was a complete stroke of luck. But I think his recruitment has worked to an extent, but we're nowhere near we're in clear water, and I think Clement himself would probably know that. Where are you on it, Chris, just now after his first year?
I think obviously kind of break it down into two sections of 6 months and 6 months. I think the first 6 months took a team that was basically dead in the water and revitalised them to a point where we topped our Europa League group. We got back to the top of the league and we won the League Cup and we were looking good. And then the two things that always kill us is injuries and inconsistencies. There was a point where we were flying, and I think that once we lost Vidvan and Cortez, the whole balance of the team kind of lost its way. And then because of that, the confidence of the team was lost. And, we inevitably saw what we saw at the end of the season, where the team just doesn't really have everything that we've highlighted in the past about previous teams, of that not being able to kind of rally. Yeah, we've probably seen it in Europe where we're kind of seen as more of an underdog, so we've been able to kind of get those big results. But in domestic football, that once there seems to be a bit of problem, the wheels fall off. We saw it in Gerrard's first season, we saw it in his second season. We've seen it. You can see it under Van Bronckhorst, you saw it under Beale, and it's been the same players over this course of time. So I think that we could have, if everybody stayed fit, we could have kind of really done something. But the moment we lost a couple of key players, the whole thing fell apart, and then we just kind of stumbled across, tried to get to the finish line. And that, I think the fact to take away from that Scottish Cup final was we played well, but we kind of ran out of gas, and they got a goal in the last minute. Just kind of summed up our whole season. I think the recruitment now, I think that we are probably going down the more kind of European route of, using a kind of a chief scout to bring in the type of players that Clement wants, and it is going to take time. We did want a rebuild, and we're getting a rebuild. We don't have huge cash injections. We've had to slash the wage budget, so this is going to be a very one game at a time process. But I think there's been times where we have been a bit baffled, and I think that Ibrox is never the most forgiving place in the world, and even when we're winning, because we're not playing well, the grumble starts, the moaning starts, the shouting starts, and anybody who's part of this is all part of a project, and they're looking around going, wait a minute, we're 2-0 up here against St Johnstone and the fans aren't happy. That's the problem when you're at when you're in technically a 2-team league, and so therefore the fan base expect, and that's the bit where we can see, like we did with Gerrard, we saw an idea or a system in place, and we went, okay, we'll stick by it. With Clement, I think the big thing is we need to see not even a style, we just need to see a bit more flair, because it's very, very stodgy to watch just now.
Absolutely, and I think consistency as well, mate. I think getting to a level that we're all recognise that is good enough and enjoyable enough not to win. I mean, I know it's hypocritical, because if Rangers play terrible the whole season and win a league, I'm not going to care. I'm generally not going to care. But we're not really in a position where we can have a luxury of playing bad and winning, if that makes sense, because we all know that it'll probably going to catch up with us, because the recruitment didn't go fully to plan. I think some of the signings did work, yes, absolutely. And we've got to remember that every signing's made isn't going to work. But in terms of what we're seeing, I still believe it's one step forward, 2 steps back just now, because we're not seeing that consistency in terms of being able to put teams to bed. We're making hard work of games that we probably shouldn't be doing. I think we've all got the feel that it doesn't take much to derail this Rangers team in recent seasons. So a bad performance somewhere down the line could really derail them, and we could go off on tangents and everything could become quite difficult. Nicky, in terms of where we are with Clement and this next month, we'll bring it to more present times. I don't think this is unfair to say, but the next month and a half for Clement is huge for him, because he was the one that said to us, you'll see the best of this Rangers team in October, November. He didn't have to say that. And I know there's always going to be things that pop up that doesn't make it possible for it to be like that. And we might not hit the full peaks under Clement in these next a month and a half or so. But we've got some big games coming up, Nicky, and these are games that he's really going to need to win. We have to start seeing proof of his pudding, if that makes sense.
It does, mate, and welcome to Chris, mate. It's good to have you on. But no, I think you're spot on. I think Clement. I think one of the other things with Clement, I know we spoke a bit about the big things for me was that style and maybe not beating Celtic. I think one of the other things that's maybe frustrating me a wee bit, and this is maybe just the nature of where we are as Rangers fans at the minute, we're all a bit peed off with the situation. It doesn't take a lot to kind of tip us over the edge, right? But I feel as if he's contradicting himself and he's saying some silly things in a lot of his press conferences as well. He talks a lot about the difference in budgets, right? That was one that really peed me off, right? About the Lyon game, big budgets, right? Well, see if you flip that round, Phil, you should be gubbing every single team in this league every single week.
Yeah.
There shouldn't be excuses. Other than Celtic, you should gub every single team in that league, right? If that's the mentality you've got, right, that budgets win football games, then you should beat every single team with the exception of Celtic every week comfortably, right? And it shouldn't be 2-1s, 1-0s, goals in the last minutes. You should go and comfortably beat them because we've got budgets that are 10 and 15 times the amount of what St Johnstone and Kilmarnock and teams like that have. Again, the other thing, yes, he has set himself up for a wee bit of a fall because he did talk a lot about you'll see the best version October, November. He doesn't know what's going to happen. Chris makes a brilliant point. We are absolutely horrific with injuries. I don't know what goes on behind the scenes at Rangers, but we are horrible with injuries. You look at Cortez, I guarantee that across October, November, there will be other big names who will go missing for games because there'll be injuries, whether it's in games or training or whatever it is we do behind the scenes. We will lose big players, and we don't have the strength and depth at the minute, right? We are losing a John Souttar or losing a Connor Barron or somebody like that away from being in real bother because we don't have the strength and depth. We don't have two players for every positions, which is what we want to go for. So he is under a bit of pressure now. The Rangers fans will remember that, and they will be looking across October, November and saying, right, well, let's see the best version of you then. I think the other thing as well is Chris makes another good point. We have got frail mentalities in the squad. It doesn't take a lot. It doesn't take a lot for some of these players to just tip a wee bit, right? It doesn't take much to knock them after game, and that goes for the fans as well, right? I talk a bit about us as fans. I think the views on Clement at the minute is very mixed. I think if you were to ask people in February-ish time this year, every 100%, 99.9% of people would have been all behind Clement. It wouldn't surprise me if it's like 50-50 now. I see a lot of people on Twitter and a lot of people on my social media who want rid of him already because they're not seeing this style of play. They're not seeing him beat Celtic. They're not seeing the lineups that we want to see, right? He's still making mistakes. Tom Lawrence is a guy that we speak about every week in this podcast. Why is he still picking him? And Tom Lawrence maybe gets a bad rep sometimes, right? Because we all argue, why is he picking him in big games where we need legs? Tom Lawrence has probably got us through 2 of the last 3 games. You think of some of the results recently, his goals have been vital and they've got us over the line in big games. So he has taken a wee bit of a hit, but fans are quite mixed at the minute. And I think there's a lot of them, although it's a 50-50, I think there's a lot of them that are right on the fence at the minute, right? And I think a run of results and closing the gap on Celtic, or at least maintaining it at 5 points up until January, I think could swing fans who are on the kind of Clement outside to come in. But on the flip, I think if we go further behind them, I think very quickly he will start to lose support with the fans who are still on board with him. And that's dangerous, right? Ross does, again, make a good point about Clement isn't going anywhere. I can guarantee you, right? See if he ends up 8, 9, 10 points behind them and we're not playing well and we get into January fixture and they beat us, Clement will go. He has to go. Yeah. Fans will be too far gone by that point. So it is a big couple of months for him, mate. He needs to just do this one game at a time mentality, speak sensibly, and just go on with it and do your talking on the pitch, mate.
Yeah, Ross, I think correct me if I'm wrong, Nicky, what he's getting at here is I think Clement could lose the Rangers fans over this next kind of 2 months or so. I don't think he's going to gain a lot back because I don't really see a massive change in how we're playing football. I'm not going to lie. I'm not sitting here thinking that on Sunday, just because he's had a couple of weeks with most of the squad anyway, that all of a sudden we're going to be this different team. I just don't see how that's possible. So, but he could lose the ones that are currently maybe teetering on the edge of, no, this guy isn't the guy for the job. There's no 2 ways about it that if we fall behind further, and Nicky's right, and we get beat off Celtic, you can't really stand and put a case forward for him. That these next few months for me are as big as he's had as Rangers manager so far.
No, definitely. You're right. If there's a period coming up that it could all go to pot, but I flip it on its head. The games, if he wins these games come up, which are tricky games, fans are right back on side. If you go to Kilmarnock and put
I
two,
agree.
three,
Yeah.
four past them, whatever, then likewise with Aberdeen, Clement is probably an opportunity. He's came at the right time for him in terms of the fixtures coming up. So, it is probably for him for a bit of a scary situation. But I do think, mate, that there's a big opportunity coming up for him soon. So it's just, I guess it's kind of going on from Sunday, and if we can make a bit of a statement, then hopefully it's something to build on.
Yeah, absolutely. Chris, where do you think what do you think's crucial for Clement going forward now? Does he have to start really being brave with the team selection? Because I mean, I think we've all done for the past year. We've been doing team predictions, and I don't think anybody's got it correct really, because he always seems to throw something in. And obviously, the elephant in the room that with every podcast you do, as soon as you start talking about team selection, is Tavernier. When Casemiro looks very much the kind of guy that we were going to be wanting at right back. Is that crucial for Clement going forward? Does he have to be start really being ruthless with his team selection?
I think the fact is that we've now got to the point where fan base will want him to do something radical. You know, like Mickey was saying, like Tom Lawrence seems to be his guy, but I think the fact is that uh, I think Tom Lawrence, being a kind of a pro, just kind of keeps his head down and kind of gets stuck in. And I'm sure Tav's the exact same. You know, they don't kind of they don't stand out, but they do the graft. And I think probably that's why Clement didn't want somebody like Cantwell on the side, who was probably a lot more vocal and wanted to kind of implement his style of play in the team, whereas Clement's kind of like, no, this is how I'm going to play. Um, yeah, the Tab situation is that that's pretty much the paramount one, because regardless of the results that we play, and like everybody says, say we go on a run and we beat everybody and we get to this game in January, the first thing everyone's going to say is Tav shouldn't play because Maeda's got him on toast every game. And we see it, and he's going to make a mistake, and we're going to start up. I don't know if you saw it as kicking about. There's like a Rangers graph, and it's like we start to play well, we start playing better, we lose to Celtic, we blame Tav and Goldson, and then we get we get to summer, and it's like a continual circle.
Yeah.
And I think that's the thing. And ultimately, I think it's one of the big issues with us as a club is like we're far too nostalgic, and we seem to just give people like, I think what we're seeing with Tav is what we saw with that last season with McGregor. Like, Steve McGregor had went out at that Scottish Cup final and walked off. The only person I've seen leave Rangers with an unblemished reputation, Scott Arfield. He's the only one who's actually went, this is the time I should leave here, I'm going to go. Whereas everybody's just sticked around for that 1 year, 2 years too long. And I'm the same. I've seen Casemiro play, saw him at the St Johnstone game, and just 5 minutes of him being on the pitch going, yeah, that's the guy we need. He's got energy, he's direct, but he looks like he's got a shot on him. Like, and that also as well was like, if we're going down this sort of kind of European, we want to go down this director of football, chief scout route, where we've no longer got a manager, it's more of a coach. There's so many clubs, you've seen it in the past, where teams win European trophies and the captain's not even on the pitch. The captain comes on the pitch to pick up the trophy. Just because you're the captain doesn't mean that you have to play. You can only play if you're actually the main. If you're fit and available, yeah. But if you're not a main part of the team, you can't be expecting to be playing every week. And and Avonier's form has been outrageous ever since the 3-3 game. He scored the penalty, but like I sit in the Copeland behind the goals, and see when that first goal went in, just have Av's head was gone, absolutely gone within that game, and I don't think he's ever recovered from it.
Yeah, and I think for Clement's sake, he's going to need to really make decisions now. He really is, because the fans will start now. Not that it's already a talking point as it is amongst the fans, but it's going to become a point where people will start to beat him over the head with it consistently, and it'll come up in constant media stuff all the time. He'll get asked the same question over and over again, and I don't want his pride to get in the way of what should probably be right. And I'm not saying like there must be something in it, because every fan nearly agrees on it, and Rangers fans don't agree on anything. So we're at the point where you're going, there must be something in this if all of us are saying it. Even me, who has been a Tav fanboy, and I'll hold my hand up and say that, it's now time that we've got guys there that are looking fitter, they're looking more informed, they're looking more confident than what our current right back is. I can't understand why he would be continued to get played being captain or not. He can still lead the team if he wishes, from the dressing room, from the sidelines, whatever he feels that he needs to do, then he can do it. But Clement has to be brave now for me, and he has to make the decision to remove Tavernier and start playing the players that he's signed, the future of the club. That is probably what I'm getting at. We'll take a break in proceedings for a fancy new sponsorship thing from our sponsors from Manscaped. So enjoy this. This episode is brought to you by Manscaped, the global leader in men's lifestyle and grooming. Introducing Manscaped's newest innovation, the Chairman Pro, the game-changing tool that brings the luxury of a professional shave right into your home. Whether you're after that daily, silky smooth finish or prefer to maintain a rugged 5 o'clock shadow, their Chairman Pro electric foil shaver is your go-to for precision and style every time. Head over to manscaped.com and join over 11 million men worldwide who trust Manscaped by using the code CLUBAT22 for 20% off and free shipping. You have the skin-safe full blade foil for that close, smooth shave when you're looking to go completely clean. And if a clean shave isn't your style, just switch to the skin-safe stubble trimmer to keep your stubble looking sharp and polished. The Chairman Pro comes with unique Flex Adjust technology, helping you maintain great contact with your skin at every angle. And here's something that's going to make your grooming routine even easier. The Chairman Pro is waterproof. The Chairman Pro is so powerful it can tackle up to a 5-day growth, making it perfect whether you're shaving every day or just tidying up after a few days. Get the Chairman Pro today and experience a shave that is as smooth as you deserve. Get 20% off and free shipping with the code CLUBAT22 at manscaped.com. That's 20% off plus free shipping with the code CLUBAT22 at manscaped.com. Thank you very much to Manscaped for their continued support of this podcast, and you can tell I've had far too much time on my hands this week with no pods, no Rangers. I thought I might do something fancy with that. So yeah, I kind of take the heat off you guys though, because you're probably not need to read that now that I'd done it, and I was like, oh, that's actually quite easy. I should probably do that.
I am absolutely gutted that Ross has escaped this, by the way.
He's probably still going to need to do one, though. That's the thing. Like, he's still not done one, so Ross is probably still likely to do one, mate. He is probably still likely to do one. But yes, no, thank you to Manscaped for their continued support. If you use CLUBAT22 at manscaped.com, then you'll be supporting this podcast. So thank you to everybody that's used it so far and is going to use it going forward. Very much appreciated. We'll move on now to discuss Niles Coppin, who spoke to this is a bit between Rangers website, the kind of interview on Rangers website and the interview that he done with Rangers Review, but he kind of spoke and outlined the Rangers transfer strategy. So I say it's kind of taken from kind of both the website and from Rangers Review, but he said they got about 80% done of what they wanted to do over the summer window. He said, and I quote, "While I was ambitious to sell more players, we also had to readjust our expectations because of salaries and the squad's overall age. In some cases, the interest we expected for certain players was not there. That resulted us in changing our plans and looking at the loan market more heavily. We had a good plan that the board were really happy with, but it's reality of football that things change, and you need to adjust your expectations as a result. It is a case that some players have known that they can find a new club for a really long time now, and they are still in the building, so that makes things more difficult. But it is what it is. I cannot put a gun to their heads and get them out of the building. It is not something I can control." Nicky, I mean, it might be slightly Rangers that. I'm not going to lie, mate. I can get where he's coming from. It's not something he can control, but he can heavily influence it, in my opinion. And he should be looking to heavily influence it. He should be almost assisting players as well as their agents to try and find them suitable clubs. So that one for me, when he said it, I was a wee bit like, I'm not too 100% sure about that, unfortunately. But what was your take on what Niall Coppins had to say regarding our transfer strategy?
The 80% is a wee bit alarming. I thought to myself, Christ, it must have been one hell of a 20% that we missed out on, by the way, because if that is 80% of the way, I'm not sure. Right?
I honestly, mate, see you on this. You've been saving some stuff up, mate, for the past couple of weeks. You're already man of the match, mate. I just need to wait until you try and say Tavernier, and then if you say it properly, mate, then you'll be.
The sooner he's out the team, by the way, and I don't need to round him off in my team at the end of the show, will be all the better for me. But no, to be honest, I'll be quite positive here. I actually quite liked a lot of the things that Coppins said. Slight negative. Then again, I liked quite a lot of the things that James Bisgrove said, and he was a tit of a man, right? But I certainly liked what Nils Coppins said. I think he spoke a bit about this kind of new strategy. I think we needed a new strategy. I think we needed something that was fresh. I am sick to the back teeth of shopping in the English Championship, right? I've made that known for a period of time, and I think Coppin had done a lot of very good things in Holland, so I was quite optimistic about what he could do here. As I say, I think we needed that new strategy. I liked a lot of the things that he said, Scott, about looking at youth, looking at potential, looking at guys who have a high ceiling. I've said this for a while, and I know some people don't like it. We are a stepping stone for a lot of these players in Europe now. I think realistically, 20, 30 years ago, no, we were a massive club amongst the other powerhouses of Europe. But realistically, Rangers and Celtic now are a platform for these players to come, to showcase, and to hopefully get a move into, let's face it, the big five leagues, Bundesliga, Premier League, La Liga, whatever it might be, where they can go on, they can play in a team that is not dominated by one or two teams. They can earn a hell of a lot more money, and it just gives them an opportunity to play higher up in Europe, internationally, etc., etc., etc. The other big thing that I quite like, Scott, is he spoke a bit about the Scottish talent. I know Ryan, who's not with us tonight, but Ryan is very big on this. We need to stop this snobbery of the Scottish market. Connor Barron was a player that I thought was a no-brainer this summer. I think we've brought him in. He's looked great. I think Connor Barron will go on to be a great player for Rangers. I think, again, he'll get better and better and better. The big one, I think, that's on everybody's lips at the minute, Scott, is young Lennon Miller. You see what he's doing for Motherwell. You've seen what he's doing for the Scotland under-21s. What is he, 17? He's just turned 18, I think. He's a frustrating one, I think, because you talk a bit about we're only getting one Scottish talent, and I get Barron probably made sense because he was the free transfer. I would have burst our budget to go and get Lennon Miller now. I think he had 2 years left on his contract, because I think the harsh reality is we might be priced out of Lennon Miller come the summer. I think he only maybe have a year left on his contract, and yeah, that maybe brings his value down, but I think there will be big clubs down south that will be looking at Lennon Miller. It also wouldn't surprise me if there's Serie A clubs, right? Serie A clubs will be looking at the likes of Lewis Ferguson, Josh Doig, some of the other young Scottish boys who went over there. Aaron Hickey is another one who went over there and done really well. So I think that is frustrating, but I do think there are still a lot of talent in Scotland. I think the young boy Cameron that plays with Dundee. I really like the boy Watson that plays with Kilmarnock. So I like that aspect. But yeah, I think I was broadly positive off the back of it. I think I like a lot of the things that he's saying. It's just a case of going and implementing it now. I think the boys he has brought in look different. They look a good profile for this club and to trajectory us as a club over the next few years. You like Diamande, Cortez. I know he's been quite unfortunate with injuries, Barami, but the three of them look good. They're all good ages, good profiles, and they're guys that, let's face it, if we want to close the gap with Celtic. Certainly financially, we need to be bringing these players in who are going to hit the ground running, and we can sell them for 2, 3, 4 times whatever it was we paid for them. Because realistically, that's probably the big way we're going to close the gap, certainly financially, between us and them over the next few years.
Yeah, I agree. I think a lot of positives in it for me as well. It wasn't too much kind of full of faff. I thought he kind of beat around some things kind of slightly, but not over the top either. I mean, you're not going to get full kind of transparency on it. I think you'll get a certain element of it in order just to kind of appease the fans, really, and can I explain things and maybe try and get as many fans on side that he knows what he's doing. Ross, if you are there, I don't know if you were having problems with your connection there, mate, but if you're there, I think I don't ever like giving Ryan or Ali any sort of credit, and you will know that as you've watched this podcast for a considerable time. I despise it. It kind of goes against everything I stand for. But Ryan was so right. I remember the conversations I had with Ryan about Lewis Ferguson, and I was going, no, mate, not me. And I was saying no to it. I was going, nope. And Shanklin was another one, but I was going, nope. But Lennon Miller is one that I'm looking at and going, Rangers should really be sniffing about talent like that. Do you think Coppin should be looking at the Scottish market more than we currently do? He's on mute.
Yep.
You're on mute, mate. Are you there? No, he's on mute. You're back. Yeah, you can go now.
We're back. We're good. There we go.
Yeah, good.
Nice. Sorry about that, gents. Sorry about that. Need to pedal this bike faster, you see. Anyways, I definitely need to be looking at the Scottish market for sure. I do think ourselves I've got hopefully some decent Scottish talents in the likes of Bailey Rice. I think there's definitely been signs there that there's talent to be had. But I think the one thing that we should be looking to get in is, the main thing for me, boys, is just some depth to the squad, and with that is bulking up with some Scottish talents. If we are a few players away from, as Nicky says, a few players from falling apart, if we can get some boys in who again fit this whole strategy of looking towards the future, looking towards the next few years, Scotland's your place to do it. There's reasons why. This is no disrespect to the US. There's a reason why a lot of players go over to like the US from Scotland, because Scotland's a tricky place to get into because there's some fair talents here. So there's plenty of folk out there, and obviously your mind goes straight away to Nathan Patterson. We've had some success, but in terms of the ratio of success to not success, we've not quite been there. So if we can get Lennon Miller in, brilliant. I think. Obviously, I remember listening back to the pod and hearing about Ferguson, and I'm sure Ryan and his cat are currently smirking quite broadly as we speak. But it's definitely one to look into for January is Lennon Miller. That's probably the first one from my target transfer list.
Yeah, Chris, your thoughts on the Scottish market? Is it a market that Rangers should be looking to exploit more often than we currently do? Where you are all aboard the bandwagon with Shankland, or are you more in the middle of it? I think if the player's right, I get it. Lennon Miller right now, it's hard for me to put up a case why Rangers wouldn't be looking to sign him, and it is a worry that he's probably going to do a Lewis Ferguson and we won't get anywhere near him because somebody will snap him up for more than we're willing or can afford to pay.
Yeah, well, I've spoken to people that I know who are Motherwell supporters, and they would. I was chatting with it like, we should go for him. They were kind of throwing numbers a bit. They think we'll get for him, and I don't think that we would entertain that as now in terms of like going for a player. Obviously, there was the conversation about going for Sima, and what we paid for Bujami as well, and also we made a move for Morgan Whittaker, which was obviously a big bid we put in for him. But I think Liam Miller's one of these ones that now. I think we should always be keeping an eye on Scottish football, but I think the big thing is, for a lot of Rangers fans is we're everybody's cup final, and so when we see players, we see them playing out their skin, and I think But what we should be doing is monitor them when they're not playing us. I think we're too quick to go, oh, that guy was brilliant against us, we should go and sign him. But I think definitely watching them, watching players who are playing like an Edinburgh Derby, playing it like, well, how do they play next week against Dundee? How well do they play next week against St Johnstone? Can they still play that level? Obviously, Andy Halliday came out and said that Bailey Rice was seen as a better player than Lennon Miller when they both came through. And Lennon Miller's now got played probably about 100 games, and Bailey Rice had like 3 substitute appearances for us. I think again, like I was saying about Ibrox, I think the same as well when it comes to young players. Only the absolutely truly exceptional come on and get given that chance, and you're talking your Charlie Millers, your Barry Fergusons, your Alan McGregors, even somebody like Danny Wilson. Like when Danny Wilson broke through at like 16 years old, but then he was playing alongside Davy Weir, who could help kind of coach him through it. And this is where I feel that, unfortunately, somebody like Leon King kind of faded because he didn't have somebody to coach him through the games. He was just kind of chucked in at the deep end. And I'm sure if he was given an opportunity where he was beside a Philip Hollander or a Connor Goldson for a period of time or a Leon Balogun, then we would have probably seen him kind of kick on. But I think that for that, you like to be at Rangers, you have to be exceptional. And like all this, the fated trading system that we want to build, you make your money by winning things. And that's the big problem. If we're investing in players, we need to win things. And if we're not winning things, then we're not going to be able to turn these investments into bigger money. You look at the other side of the city, you can bring somebody in, and after 3 years, they can turn around and say, "This guy's been at us for 3 years. They've won 3 league titles. They've won Scottish Cup, League Cups. They've played for their national side. They've played so many games in Europe." In terms of the tick chart of what you're looking for in a player, that's ticked on every level. For us, we can turn around and the other one as well is on your highlight reel. How many Old Firm games have you won? Because that's our big showcase game. So if you can sit there again to go back to Todd Cantwell. Todd Cantwell scored a goal in a kind of a dead rubber game. But if we were looking to make serious money on him, we could sit and say, "Oh, he played in Europe. Oh, we won a League Cup." But it's winning the league and winning multiple trophies and, being a star player in the biggest game in Scotland. That's the way you get it in. But I think in terms of for us looking at players, I think now we should always be looking at the domestic market. And I think Nicky's right. I think that the English Championship and League One football is just, no, there's no point. There's too much money down there. And there's players now that's just, they know they're going to get the cash, and so therefore you can go and be a League One Championship player and walk away with a few million in the bank and never be that good, but then come up to Glasgow where the expectation levels are absolutely massive, but yeah, it's a horrible kind of conundrum that Clement's found himself and Coppin and everybody else needing to find. And ultimately, all our problems are going to be solved by success, but trying to figure out how to put all that together.
Yeah, I 100% agree, and I think that it stems back to the way that we handled things, the way Gerrard handled things after we won the league, the way that we should have moved quite a lot on at that point. We should have then reinvested in the youth, and the youth would have got that opportunity to breathe, to learn, to be part of a successful squad, and to really get integrated into it. And we didn't do that. We really didn't, and we kind of took the eye off the ball again. That's probably a whole another podcast. But I thought it was interesting for Niles Coppin to come out and kind of explain fully what happened over the summer. And obviously he's got a big window coming up again in January. I don't think there's any great doubt about that. Slightly cautious on time, lads, so I'll move on to the preview of the upcoming Kilmarnock game as we return to league action. So it was a press conference today, and Clement had the following to say, and this is courtesy of Four Lads of their Dream blog, who kindly put it in nice wee bullet points for me. I was like, thanks very much. But this is Stevie done this. Thank you very much, Stevie. I get nervous when lads go away for internationals, but everything is okay. Only one doubt, and that's McCausland, as he got a knock, but he is. He's still he's possibly doubtful for the weekend. Squad is looking better and better. I expect the next couple of months our levels to rise. Injuries aren't perfect, but it's less than last season, so we need to keep working on it. We need to go from strength to strength, but that is the target, and it's never straightforward. But we are working on it. On his year, he said, "I need to be home for 6 p.m. so we don't have the time." Good, we won a cup, but the rest wasn't good enough. We had to do a big rebuild on and off the pitch, and I am giving everything to return the club to where we want to be. There are several steps before we get there, but everyone together has to rebuild again. I won't speak about limitations or excuses. Our ambition is to win every game, and it's about winning. About winning, we won't take excuses. On the squad, he said Hadji suspended. Obviously, Cortez will be out for several weeks still, which is smashing. Ridvan back in training next week. Rabi will be later next week or the week after. Danilo is back, but we need to take our time with them. Young players will get their chances. They have been training with us. They have been training with us. We played with a very young team in a friendly against Dundee, so they are involved with us. And we'll have to discuss this on Ryan Kent. I don't go into rumours. I won't discuss it, but I know the player. I tried to get him when we went, when he was try to get him to go to Bruges when he was, but yeah, obviously came to us. Nicky, squad's still not where we wanted to be in terms of injuries, etc. Not a great shock that we're not getting much back. Still several weeks again. I don't really like that. Cortez looks like he's nowhere near it, which is really unfortunate coming into this kind of run of games that we are going to have. And obviously the rumours of Ryan Kent, who was released by, he terminated his contract by mutual consent with his club, and immediately, obviously, the rumours started that Rangers will sign him, etc. So, what's your take on that before we go into a full preview? We don't need to go into full details of it. For me, the wage has got to be pretty low, and it's got to be pretty low risk for Rangers for me to even entertain it to being a good idea.
Aye, Curry's probably going to throw his laptop about here when I say this, but I would probably take him, to be honest. But I'm very much in the same camp as you, Scott. I don't think our wingers are great at the minute. I think the guys who have come in, Cortez, the injuries is an issue. Czerny looks all right. Had a few wee moments, had a few bad moments as well. Matondo, who knows what's happening with him, right? He'll come in, he'll play unbelievable against Ross County, and then he'll disappear again for a few months. So, yes, rumoured 45 grand a week. It would need to be a massive reduction in wages, right? You're talking less than half of that to even get a sniff at Rangers, right? Come on, Coppin, sorry, had a lot of good points about what we're looking for, the wage structure, young potential. Kent doesn't really tick any of those boxes. Kent has shown he's got a high ceiling when he wants it to be. He's also showed that he's got a pretty low ceiling as well when he downs tools. But I think we're where we are. And to be honest, I think even though we're talking about this, I'm sure I read someone on Twitter that he couldn't actually be in until January anyway. So it doesn't really help us out in the short term. But come January, if there's nobody else, we've got no funds kicking about, I wouldn't be massively opposed to it if we could get the numbers right.
I don't like it. I'm not going to lie. I just don't like the. I think
they'd be better. I think I'd prefer it if we went into the market and get somebody who's young and get potential, etc. But January's a traditionally tricky window. We're not awash with finances. Yeah. So
whether he would come back as well is another thing, I suppose. But for me, I'm like, do I want to go down that path again? I'm really not 100% sure if I do. Ross, would you take Ryan Kent back? As he froze, I think he has. Chris, will you?
I think
would
so.
You take?
I think so. And
he's there. He's there.
I don't know.
He's there. I don't know what's going on.
He's on Turkey time.
I think he is. You on holiday with Ryan? He's away again. It's going swimmingly well tonight, isn't it? Chris, would you take Ryan Kent back?
To be honest, I think looking at the side, he would walk into our team. Because, like Nicky said, I don't think anybody in our wings is really looking like they're really kind of nailed their position in that side. Again, I read the same thing saying that he can't sign for us because if he's contract was terminated before the end of the window, we could sign him, but because it's been terminated after the window's shut, so therefore he can't sign Friendly until the window opens. But he still has his flat in Glasgow and he still has his place up in Balloch, so maybe he wants to come back here and look after his crocodile and his horses now he's got. Let's keep an eye and see what his brother's up to. His brother will give it away. What he's up to?
Yeah, I don't know. For me, I'm like, I don't know if it's just something that started because of our lack of options in the left wing, and I'm like, for me, I'm just like, I don't think. It doesn't give me a good feeling. It just doesn't give me a good feeling, and that's my honest reaction to it. That is my honest reaction to it. But yeah, we'll leave it at that. Right, Kilmarnock now. Kelly find themselves sitting 9th in the league, only winning 1 of their first 7 games. The last game, they needed an injury time winner versus Dundee at Den Parks to get the win. Nicky, can we make a bit of a mountain out of a molehill with this fixture, considering the form that Kelly are in? We always look at the Kelly and go, it's a really tough game going to Rugby Park. Should we be looking at it like that? Should Rangers not be going into this game feeling very confident, considering where Kelly are sitting in the league?
Well, we've got a bigger budget than them, so this should be absolutely no problem at all, mate. This should be absolutely a walk in the plastic park.
I know. What's the stats?
Come the weekend. Yes, we have. It's something that's frustrated me since Gerrard was here. To be honest, we build up these teams so bloody much, right? It's not Real Madrid we're playing, right? See, going to Pittodrie, going to Rugby Park, going to Tynecastle, it does man not in the amount that we build these teams up. However, I am a wee bit nervous for Sunday. I hate parts. I particularly hate it after international breaks as well. I think if we'd been going at it and we'd played maybe 3 or 4 games on the spin and then we had it, I'd be feeling a bit more confident. But we seem to be slow starters. We seem to take a wee bit to get going, particularly after the. And it doesn't. I don't really understand it, right? Because you talk about we've not got a massive amount of people on international duty. We've Clement said 10 days, 14 days, whatever it is, to work with players, all focused on this one game. We should go out and we've got better players. We've got better facilities, we've got better manager and coaches and everything else. We should go out and beat them comfortably, but I think it'll be a tough one. Plastic Park is a bit of a leveller. I played a lot of football. Plastic parks are a nightmare. I much prefer grass, and I'm sure the professionals do as well. The sooner they are away, the better, mate. But yes, I think it'll be a tough game. I'd like to think that we'll go over the line. There's no excuses, but I'm a wee bit nervous for the game over the weekend, mate.
And considering we're going to be playing in a hurricane, it looks like as well, which is exciting. It's always good to have a soaking wet plastic pitch and high winds in Kilmarnock. Yeah, what could possibly go wrong? Famous last words. Chris, your thoughts ahead of the game on Sunday?
Again, yeah, I think what Nicky says is totally right. I think that we just build these games up into much more than what they are. I think again, going back to Gerrard, like that whole tie in with Kent, Jamie Murphy goes down with a knee injury. Ever since then, that pitch, players get injured. But then if Jamie Murphy hadn't went down injured, then Ryan Kent would never have got his chance while he's on loan at Rangers. It's all whole sliding doors kind of moment. But no, I do. I think that we build this stuff too much up in our heads, and we're all worried about how we're going to play, and that totally played into McInnes's hands the whole time when he was at Kelly and he was at Aberdeen, because all he'd have to do is just start playing physical football and then we'd start kind of flapping at the back. We go out there and just impose our game on them, we should win, because like I said, we do have better players. Now, again, we don't know what Dessels is going to turn up. Maybe the wind's going to help blow some wild shots down the back of the net for him, but so let's just see what happens. But yeah, I just again, you've got to go out there and just think, no, we're going to win this today. You can't be sitting like, we better hope. Plus the fact we've got Robbie McCrory, surely the amount of players on our side that have been in the squad with him know his deficiencies and know how to play against him.
Yeah, I agree. I think we always tend to make these games into something that they shouldn't be. I think, yeah, the plastic pitch and whatever it may be, but Rangers should still be having enough in terms of what we've got and what Kilmarnock have, and that's not just on budget. I'm not bigging up Nicky's scream about it tonight, but I'm confident enough, and I think just get through the game. Really, it's always what something like that. When you go to Rugby Park, is just get through the game with a win, and that's really all I'm looking to see. To say I ain't expecting to see Rangers play the best football I've seen them play all season, but I do like surprises, Rangers, so that would be nice if you fancied that. We will finish up with teams and score predictions. Nicky, what is your team for Sunday, and what is your score prediction, please?
I think he'll go safe. I actually think I might get this one right, by the way. Bookmark this. I
You
reckon I
won't.
might get this one
You
right.
won't.
I
You
know
don't.
I
You
won't.
won't.
But I reckon I might. So I reckon Butland, Tav, Suter, Proper, Yefty will be the back four. I think he'll go Barron, Diomande, and Lawrence as the three. I think he'll go Cherny on the right. I think he'll go Bayrami on the left. And I think he'll go Dessers up top. I can't see it deviating too much for that. I don't think he's got a lot of other options, and I think he'll go safe. I think he'll go with tried and tested. I am a wee bit nervous. I'm going to go 2-0 though. I think Rangers will hopefully go over the line. I'm going to go 2-0, and I'm actually going to go by Rami to score first.
I think your team's pretty spot on, mate. I personally, the only change I would make was put Casemiro in at right back. That's the only change that I would make personally. But
I would as well, but there is
yeah,
not a chance.
not a chance of that. No, I know there isn't a chance of that. But I think that's probably the team. That is probably the team. I don't see it being much different from that unless he throws a right curveball into it. But yeah, I can't see that. Chris, what's your predicted team? Similar, completely different.
Yeah, no. I think that's the team. But then, like you're saying, it's like I think we're needing this consistency, and we've seen these run of games where we've had clean sheets, and defensively we've looked solid. So yeah, just keep the consistency. I've seen a few kind of again out there ones of saying why do we not play Igamani out wide left? Do we play Berjami in the 10? Because then just kind of we don't have MD in the left. Why don't we use him and let kind of use his physicality and his pace, and then he can get more chances to try and score. But again, I think that the team kind of picks itself.
Yeah, I don't think there's going to be a great change. I really don't. I think that it will be that, and honestly, just a win. Rangers, I'll take a 1-0. I'll take a 2-0. I'll take anything. Just win a game. To win a game and get out of that pitch, and we'll move on from that. So yeah, that will do us for tonight. Before we finish up, Chris, you've got a few things you want to say about the page. Please, the floor is yours, mate.
Yeah. Obviously, we hit our kind of milestone there the other day. We've hit on Facebook. We've hit 200,000 followers. Who'd have thought? Back in 2012, when we were just a bunch of guys posting a lot. Hi, this also in the chat. This is my cat Casey. She's very clingy. She was at the vet today, so she's want to be around me. So that skint for 106 quid at the vet today. Well,
Got no idea what happened there. Literally, I've not got a clue.
know.
Something's not working
But
tonight.
anyway,
Apologies.
I am your captain now.
Something's not happening.
Yes, I don't know what happened there. I don't know what happened. Carry on, Chris. Sorry.
I think Nicky was making a corporate takeover there.
Yeah, I think so.
Aye, but as they're saying, it's like so we hit that milestone on Facebook, which was really good as well. Also, I've seen people in the comments talking about the European game on Thursday night. Tomorrow night, I'm going to do a post on Instagram for 2 hospitality tickets for the Gordon Ramsay Lounge for that game. So keep your eyes peeled for our Instagram account. We've partnered up with a company called Tick. We gave away 2 tickets for the Leon game, and yeah, the guy who won it pure raved about it. Said it was absolutely amazing experience. Obviously, the game was terrible, but the food was fantastic. So yeah. So tomorrow I'm going to be posting about that, and then obviously the last thing as well is we have been helping promote the show, The Journey Back, because Stu Hayes, my pal, and always kind of really kind of championed all his stuff, and so we always help kind of promote the things. So obviously we're kind of on the kind of sponsorship part of it, and he's got his big night in the Hydro, and then he's got two nights in Belfast to go. So so there's a lot going on with Rangers on tour. So we're just gonna keep plodding along and keep growing the audience, but coming along this and us getting involved is always good.
Yeah, absolutely, mate. No, pleasure to have you on. And yeah, if you don't follow Rangers on Tour on every social media platform, then by all means do go and do so. But make sure you follow the Instagram. As Chris said, you'll be a chance to win the hospitality tickets for Gordon Ramsay. And I can't enter that because if I win that, can you imagine the scandal of the fix? My goodness, man, there'll be petitions everywhere about that. So, yes, I will unfortunately not be entering that. But I could enter it as an alias, I suppose. Maybe have a chance of winning it.
I come on your podcast, then you win tickets.
Yeah, and then I do a vlog from the Gordon Ramsay restaurant at Ibrox. Like, hello, everybody. Look at the size of my steak. Yes, that'll do. But no, Chris, pleasure to have you on, mate. Thank you for coming on.
A nom de plume.
Yeah, yes, exactly. No, and Nicky, thank you very much for joining me tonight, mate.
Thank you, mate. It's good to have Chris on as well. I'll have a wee scope out at Instagram.
Thank you, Jim, as well, by the way.
I was just going to say, you've partnered with somebody called Tick Pick. I need to be careful when I'm typing that and I'll end up maybe a page. But no, it sounds fantastic, mate. Good to be on. I was off last week, mate, so I had a lot to get off my chest tonight. So it was good to have a wee bit of therapy about Rangers, and I'm looking forward to the game on Sunday.
Absolutely, can't wait for it. Thank you to Ross as well for joining us. He has had a nightmare with his internet, so he will not be coming back on to say cheerio, but thank you, Ross, for joining us as well. Thank you, everybody, for tuning in. Thank you, chat. Thank you, Jim. Very much appreciated for the donation there, mate. Really do appreciate that. We will be back on Sunday with a reaction after the game. Until then, I hope you enjoy your weekend. I hope your team wins on Sunday. We are Club at 22, the Rangers podcast. Cheers, everybody.